So I'm always unsure which direction. Should I look straight at the camera or do I look off to the right where I could see my side camera action? Hey you guys, welcome back to another video. I have picked up a new sketchbook, and that's only because I'm going through them so quickly. I was in my Etcher sketchbook and this one has served me really well. I have not finished. I'm about 2 to 3 pages away of finishing in here, but it's gonna happen pretty soon. There's just days where I get this urge to paint and it's coming. I mean, I've been painting in this almost every day, but now I'm going to be using my Strathmore sketchbook, and this one is less expensive, and this one we are going to get to now. So let's move on to top down so that you can see more details. Okay, my friends, we are talking about this sketchbook right here. This is the Strathmore Watercolor 48 pages sketchbook, and this is the soft cover. This is the first time I am using Strathmore sketchbook and the soft cover. I really do like the way that this cover feels. It has like this strange leatherette feel to it, and it's really flexible. So let's take this off. It's like a nice gray brown. This looks more accurate on the screen when it's at this angle, the color. So I do like that. It did come with like some weird markings back here, which you can't really tell, but I already did like a swatch like tester page just to see how the paper reacts. This is not 100% cotton. It's a new type of like cellulose. I don't even know what else is part of this paper. You could probably look that information up online, but it is supposed to work very well. It's more of an intermediate artist paper. It's good for watercolor, gouache, and acrylic. And so far I do like it. There were a couple of things. I'm getting more into like experimenting with other types of techniques with watercolor. So like using salt on watercolor is probably hard to tell, but I did use salt here and then a little bit of salt here. I think that the salt technique looks really good when it's used on 100% cotton. So let me show you an example. I did do one here. And you can really see those crystal forms, and it looks really cool as a background. And so I've been experimenting with that. Another thing I want to experiment with is alcohol and like alcohol drops, and then also doing more like water on a semi-dry surface of paint to give that kind of fun visual effect. So I've been trying those techniques. I haven't done it a lot, but I know one thing I do like is the salt, and so I have like a little jar here with some salt crystals for whenever I do feel the urge to do that. Another thing is that I really like about the sketchbook so far is the size. I did try, this is an A5, but it's like it opens up this way, so I think they call it like a landscape A5, and I thought I would like that because I would have more real estate to work this way. But moving from this notebook to this notebook made me realize that I really like this size. So this is a Stillman and Burn, and I can't remember all the specs, but you know, this was like my very first finished sketchbook. And then this one is slightly smaller. I think this one's about 10 inches. This one's 7 1/4 by 9 1/4. no, 7 3/4 by 9 3/4, this one. So I'm finding that I do like the larger size, and this cover in comparison, this one has a very similar texture, but this one's a lot smoother. The only difference is that the cover here is a lot thicker than this one. This one's like, you could just tell, it's like a flap. And so it kind of worries me that my first page may not be very well protected, which means I'm going to make it like my intro page, or like if found, if lost, please return to page. So we're gonna do that together. But yeah, I just thought I would share so far. So I can't believe I've already jumped from this book to this one, and I'm gonna move into this one all within less than a year. So, you know, this watercolor craziness has got me so obsessed, and I don't know what, it just, one thing clicked, it just clicked, and I started doing better and seeing improvement, and it's just what has me so motivated and keeps me motivated. In fact, I've even have become obsessed with my watercolors, and this is something I'm not really thrilled about, how the watercolors just kind of fall out, but those are the only two that fall out. And so I've added to my palette. This side is practically full. I got 3 more watercolor pans today, which was like a phthalo turquoise. Sorry, you can probably hear my kids. It's a phthalo turquoise. I got a neutral tint, and then I got this titanium white, which should make my colors a little bit more pastel and a tad bit more opaque, pretty similar to gouache. And the nice thing about it being a watercolor is that it may not give the exact opacity as gouache can, but it can get me there a lot better than not having something like titanium white. And then plus it's watercolor, so it will stay in the pan and not like crust like gouache does. So I'm excited to use that. I haven't used it, I just got it today. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this. Let me just show you some of the things I did here in the back. And I did this last night. I wanted to film it, but it was really late and I didn't have like the greatest lighting, so it would have been really yellow and hard to adjust. But just drawing a bird and trying to mix some of the colors. I think mixing is a little bit hard on this paper in comparison to cotton, and that's just because I do really like the fact that I can use the cotton paper to scrub and blend my colors than to do it initially when I lay it down on paper, because I can fix a mistake with cotton paper, but with other paper I know that I can't. So it kind of makes me feel like I need to do better with my technique in painting, and so maybe this paper will help me do that, become a better painter in that way, than to try to fix the painting on the paper, but to be more cautious of how I lay down my colors and things like that. One of the other things I noticed that is not going to be fun is that hand oils really do affect the paper because it's not 100% cotton, even though it does affect 100% cotton, I've noticed. But this picks up hand oils like Tomoe River. And if you could see here, my hand oils, because I set my hand here and I was starting up at the top, you can see how the paint is just uneven when it lays down. And this is not a granulating color. It should look more like this, how it's nice and solid, but my hand oils are already on this bottom half of the paper and part of this side. So that's one of the things I have to be cautious about, which brings me to wearing my hand glove, which is the one that covers a quarter of my hand, which I cannot find at the moment. It was around here. And you guys seen me wear it before. So that's the other thing. But I'm really excited about this notebook. I really want to do more like draw your day type of journaling in something like this with watercolor. It's just I have so many other planners that I do my documenting and my drawing in that it wouldn't, right now it's just not right for that. But you know, like Samantha Baker, I love her draw your day type of thing, and I think she uses notebooks like this for her draw her days, and she has like a huge stack of them, and that's something I would really love to have eventually. But right now, because I'm still such a big planner girl and love my Tomoe River paper, I do all that elsewhere. So this will just be mainly for my watercolor and maybe some gouache, especially this one. So let's get started. I need to find my glove. So I have my glove. Let's zoom out. And I have my watercolor. Like, my watercolors always are on my desk now. I don't store them away anywhere. So, and I don't know why these didn't stick. Maybe it was just really waxy or something when I laid down the ink or the watercolor. I need to fix that. So here's the watercolor. Make some adjustments. I have some water, which I will put over here to the side. And I did get some masking tape, and this is the 3/4 inch masking tape, which I was using washi, but then I kind of feel like it's a little bit wasteful for me to use washi. So I bought tape. And I got this from Amazon. It was just a few dollars. Actually, it was like $1.50. So it was perfect. And I'm just making some very not straight lines. And just kind of, I have no plan for this, honestly. But I know I want a little fun cover page. I also want to cut this page up, this part, because I want this to be my little name box. There we go. So we all know my favorite color is blue. This paper does take water very well, like a lot of water. So let's do some blending technique with some of my favorite colors. So I think I'm digging into ultramarine blue. Oh, look at that. So beautiful. Whoops. I get like way too excited when I work with like tape, the border, because then sometimes I go beyond the border, which is ridiculous, right? So I do need to familiarize myself with my watercolors. And I know that this is Phthalo Turquoise. This is that new color I just got. And this one I think is ultramarine blue. So I just want to darken the edges a little. And every time I do that, because my brush is not completely saturated, I end up kind of removing some of the paint. Anyway, so I need to familiarize myself with the colors so that when I do paint, I don't have to think so hard about what color I'm using, and I can just come up with it, like, you know, real quick. Oh, and I have a trick. I got a sponge, and this is what people use who paint in plein air. And so I was like, oh, that's awesome, it's so much easier, even though I have like rags and stuff. But I do realize that having a rag does not clean, like remove all the water from my paintbrush. And so having a paper towel is really the best type of material to use. But this also works almost like a paper towel. I just hate using my paper towels because, you know, it's paper and not reusable kind of thing, and they get gross and they don't last very long, and sometimes I have to go through more than one. Another thing I have is this guy. Okay, so that's not what I was expecting. Other artists say not to use a heater and just to let your paper dry naturally, and I would do that if I were creating a piece for someone, you know, if it were a commission piece. If it were even my piece that was gonna hang on my wall, I probably wouldn't do it, because they said that the heat can really affect your watercolors, like on the paper. So I wouldn't do that outside of this, but because this is just a cover page, pretty much just for me, I'm okay with doing it. But I did notice that I did lift up my tape, and now my box is not so very square anymore. But that's okay, we'll figure a way around it. I think I want to remove these. Yeah. Look how easy this comes up. And it doesn't tear my page. Let's dry it just a little bit more. And let me take a fine liner and kind of keep this going. Kind of like how it looks uneven. And let's make it look intentional. And then I'm gonna get my brush pen. And this is just my Tombow Fude no Suki brush pen. And this one is this is the hard, which makes doing thinner lines a lot easier than the soft one because I have more control. So let's just write. This. belongs to So I've been thinking about like a different way to sign my name, and I think I'm gonna stick with something like that. And I'm gonna, at the bottom, write a start date. And let's see, I need a fine, where's my brush? I find that I can write and control my letters with this brush, which is a number 3 Princeton. It's like a snap brush, so it has a lot of, it goes back to its shape, which is something I've learned this year. Difference between like a soft brush, a snap brush. And I really like these for more control with small details. So definitely not perfect, but I'm not striving for perfection here. And let's see. Now this is something I wish I would have done more consistently, not just with my sketchbooks, but in general. So if you guys do plan to have a numbering system or start something new that you can label and number, definitely think of that before you start. Definitely makes things a lot easier. Okay, I don't know why I put that there. That should have been over here, but that's okay. Oh, that's what I want to do. So, because this is, I don't know, let's see. Let's do some flicks. Can you see those? They are definitely hard to see, and I feel like I got more on my desk than on the paper. Let's see. Let's try a different brush. Here's my mop brush. I guess I need a lot of, there we go. Oh boy. Making sure I don't have too many my leather products around while I'm doing this, because they do sit on my desk. All right. I feel like I need a little bit more of that blue. Okay, that's good enough. Definitely have a lot to clean up right now, but I thought I would like to share this process with you before I really dive into this notebook. You can see all these splatters everywhere. Oh, and I did get it on my leather, but that's okay. Anyway, I am going to put in the date after this dries, and I'm gonna put the date as September 14. What day is it today? Nope, to September 16th, and we'll see how long it takes me to get through this book. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.